Okay, we're back. I'll unpause the game, and now we'll calculate. So like I said before, just before we left, I have 24 vents, and I'm going to multiply that by how much heat each vent can dissipate, which is 32.232, gives me a maximum of 773 billion. So I'm going to export, and I am going to do one more cache upgrade for these guys before I start working on the next cell. So I can see I can afford it. I'm going to buy that. I'm going to get this infinite because it's cheap. It's like basically nothing right now. And now what I'm going to start doing is working on that. So once I have enough to get in, start adding in these cells here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to export again and then start adding them in. And after I get one or two of them in, I'm going to get its first cache upgrade, and then I'm going to remove a bunch of these cells and add another row of my arrays. So I have enough to buy the first one. I'm going to export. I'm going to add it in and check how much heat. So I'm up to 176 out of 773. I'm going to add one more cell in. And now next I'm going to save up another 20 trillion and buy their cache upgrade. Alright, there we go. And I'm going to save up again. And I'm just going to slowly start adding these guys in while I keep an eye on my maximum heat. So I have enough. It's been a while since the last time I exported, so I'm going to export again and add it in. Nothing blowing up, so we'll just repeat that a few more times. So we're up to 436 of 773. $565 of 773. $630. $695. So I might be able to get one more cell, maybe two. We will see. 760. Okay, so we're definitely not going to be able to get any more cells in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this opportunity to show you why we export every time, just in case you don't know why. Okay, so I'm going to go to options. I'm going to export because I know this is going to blow up my reactor. So I'm going to put it in. It's going to blow up my reactor. Boom. All I do is I go to options, I press import, and everything's back to normal. So that's why we export every time. I'm going to save up for 200 trillion, which is the cost of the next of these guys' upgrade. And then what I'm going to do is probably get rid of the row so I can start adding in more cells. Okay, so I'm going to get him, and we will... Now what we're going to do is we're just going to save up a little bit of cash. We'll get to about 100 trillion, and then I'm going to get rid of some of these guys. The reason why I don't want to do it too soon is because as soon as I start removing these cells, the amount of power per tick is obviously going to drop. Alright, that should be good enough. Now to save space, I'm not going to do it the same way as I done the other one where I have them on top of each other. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this the equivalent of this vent here right beside this vent here, right here. So that way I can compact the amount of arrays I can fit in a smaller space. And because I'm going to be removing a couple of these capacitors, obviously to fill in, what I don't want to do is accidentally blow up my reactor, because every time I remove some of these capacitors, it's going to decrease the amount that I can vent out. So what I'm going to do to offset that at the beginning is I'm just going to put in a row up here. So now I can remove a couple of these guys and it's not going to make me blow up. And I'm just going to go ahead and add in those arrays. And then I'll fill in the rest of the space with capacitors. And we will recalculate. We're now up to 48 vents. So 48 times 60.922. Oh, I forgot to clear my last one. So we're up to 48 times 60.922 equals 2.9 trillion. So I'm going to export, and I can get myself up to 2.9 trillion. Okay, we're getting close, so I'm going to export and then continue adding in. Okay, I might be able to get one more. We'll check. Export. Ooh, just barely could get that in. Alright, so let's see if I can get some cache upgrades. I can get the next one of these, so that's what I'll do. And I need 850 trillion for that, so I am going to save up for these guys. Actually, what I'm going to do before that is I'm actually going to add in another row of my arrays. And we're getting close to a new phase of our build that's different from the previous. This is where this run is going to be different from the previous run when we did our first prestige. Okay, I'm going to fill in the remaining space with capacitors. And I'm going to recalculate. We're now up to 72 vents. So I put that in my calculator. 72 times 89.612 equals, we're up to 6.4 trillion. So I'm going to export and add in some of these guys. So we're up to 4.5. We're adding power, so I'm going to get another one of these guys. So I'm going to get one of these and one of these. And we're back to good. I'm going to export and add in a few more cells. We're gaining power again, so I'm going to get the next upgrade for them. So they're both up to 10. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to 2 quadrillion and buy the next power upgrade for these guys. Okay, that's that. And now I'm going to save up for these guys and these guys. I think I can get a couple more cells in, so I'm going to do that. 2, 3. Alright, that's good. I'm not too concerned about that at the moment. So I need 850 trillion for the first one. Alright, so there's my 850. So it's 250 for this, 600 for that. And now I need 2 more quadrillion to get that. But in the meantime, seeing as this is only 100 billion, I'm going to get one of them, and I'm going to get one of them. So that way my power is back to being enough. Okay, because I just upgraded the vents, what I can do is recalculate them. So I have 72 vents multiplied by 102.414 equals, now I can get 7 trillion. 7.3 trillion. So I'm going to export and add in a few more cells. Alright, I'm satisfied with that at the moment. I just need a little bit more and I'm good. And then I'll recalculate. Just a little more. Alright, there we go. So it's 1 quadrillion each. They're both up to level 8. In fact, all of them are up to level 8. I'm going to buy one. I know that I'm going to be passing this in a second, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy another one of these. So I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to recalculate. So I have 72 vents times 118.808. And that gives me 8.5 trillion. So I'm just going to bring that up. Alright, that's close enough. I don't think I'll be able to get any more in. Okay, so let's see, what do I need next? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my build. So I need 3 quadrillion for this, and that's what I'm going to be going for. So once I have this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely get rid of all these cells, get rid of all of this, and I'm going to fill up most of the space up here with capacitors. Alright, so there's my 3 quadrillion. I'm going to get a little bit more just as a buffer. I'm going to export just in case shit. And I'm going to get rid of everything in here. Okay. I'm going to go and fill in all of this space with capacitors. I'm going to work on the assumption that I want about 5 or so cells. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear those out. I'm going to clear space out for those cells so that way I don't have to constantly keep making calculations. And I'm just going to put in some reflectors. So I got enough space for a whole bunch of these guys. Let's see, I'll add a little bit more. Okay, so I can get, with this I can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cells. I'll make it up to 10. I'll bring it up to 10. So I have enough space for 10 of the plutonium cells. I'll export. And we will be back on with the next part and we'll add in our cells.